Hey there, a quick introduction before we begin. This is a combination of my 4th and 5th playthroughs of Undertale. Discussion will be extremely spoily, and I highly recommend you play the game yourself, or at least watch my previous plays before watching this series. These playthroughs explore many secrets, talk about the game's story, discuss the design of the game itself in detail, and show off lots of cool stuff you've likely never seen before. During my 4th playthrough, which is the one without a facecam, there was still much I didn't yet know, so I do a lot of testing to try out weird stuff, and we managed to experience several new things for the very first time. For my 5th playthrough, that's the one with the facecam, we use debug mode to make it faster and easier to show off things that require resets or luck to see in-game. But almost everything I show off is possible to see naturally. I spent a lot of time editing everything down in order to minimize the downtime and repetition as much as possible, while hopefully still remaining understandable. So yeah, Undertale was a very special game for me, and hopefully this series will give you some interesting things to think about and let you see aspects of the game that are fresh and new. Enjoy.
Mount Ebott, the year 21X. Legends say that those who climb the mountain never return.
Greetings, Instantiation. The banner is, kind of meant as a preview, I guess I would say. It's reasonably accurate. I think, I tried, I actually spent like an hour on that. It's way too long. So we're gonna start right off the bat. How many people are familiar with what just happened here? So, yeah, here's an odd one that yeah, I like that reaction. If you type BALL at this exact part of the title screen, it triggers that sound effect, which is otherwise never played in the game. So, BALL. But why? Well, why is a good question. Why is a good question. The answer is nobody really knows why. So as far as we can tell, like, entering that ball and triggering that sound effect doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't have any permanent or other effect in the game whatsoever. Kind of the theory is that it might have something to do with like a concept, like it's probably a scrapped idea as far as like kind of a cheat code thing. Like Chrono Trigger, for example, had a lot of keys. Like BALL could be done on an SNES controller, right? You hit BA left or whatever. I guess that could even be done on a NES controller even. But like there's definitely several old games that use like cheat codes along those lines, and yeah, so like kind of the theory is that it's kind of along those lines, and maybe it was gonna be an activator for something or whatever, but was basically just a scrapped idea that was left in. We were chatting about some of the other songs that people didn't know why were in the game. So the ooh-ah songs are here on the joystick config menu, and there's also little flares and text, and the dog is decorated to fit the season. So this is what winter looks like. We're going to change our time. And here's spring. It has different music on the joystick config menu depending on the season that you're playing the game in. Alright, so moving on to summer here. Try to withstand the sun's life-giving rays. And finally, fall. Sweep a leaf, sweep away a troubles. The character you see in the opening cutscene.
Yeah, that's a complicated answer, but I guess yeah, the most straightforward answer is that it is the fallen human. Well, that's not straightforward. The most cryptic but correct answer is that it's the fallen human. But so that's who you are naming, is the character that is fallen. That is the player or the character, depending on how you want to think of it a little bit. But it that is the first human that fell into the underground in the year 21X, and that is who hated humanity, and they concocted the plan with Azrael. Man, I really hope anyone has already left because of spoilers. We're getting like we're diving head first in this, but so yeah, that is the fallen human that concocted the plan with Azrael to cross through the barrier and obtain more souls so that they could shatter the barrier. That is the human that died at the hands of the humans because Azrael fought against their control and didn't want to fight back. And that is the human that was put into a coffin in the basement of the castle. That Toriel, when she was disgusted with Azor's actions, grabbed and left when she returned to the ruins and gave you a proper burial. And your burial and resting spot was right here. I guess I should note that the little title screen there, where it just describes the controls, is nice. Like it says just this little note about the game: when you hit 0 HP, you lose. That's what they decide to introduce the game with. Like that's the only description you have about the game. Here's how to move around, and if you hit 0 HP, you lose. Go at it. I definitely like that the game doesn't push any of the marketing material further than that. Like, I think this is actually best played not watching the trailer, not reading the Steam page, not knowing it's the game or the friendly RPG where you don't have to kill anyone, quote unquote. Howdy, I'm Flowey. Flowey the Flower. You're new to the underground, aren't you? Hey, buddy, you missed them. Let's try again. Okay. You idiot. In this world, it's kill or be killed. So it's interesting that so Flowey there at this point in the game is trying to basically he wants a soul. He's horrified at his own existence and sees that you've fallen down here, and maybe he can steal your soul, and maybe that will mean he can feel things again. So that is why Flowey attacks you right here. Yeah, the introduction to the game is Flowey the Flower, who to most people comes off as this really friendly, happy character, and is teaching you, like, they kind of it's the first tutorial of the game. And they're kind of like, okay, this is how the game works, and he's gonna give you friendliness pellets. Okay, that's really cute. And then it smacks you, and he suddenly turns into this grotesque face, calling you an idiot. And as we can see from the video I showed at the beginning of the stream, people's reactions to that is they're very strong, and it really sets the game up in it like perfectly there to be like, hey. This is a game that is going to subvert your expectations. Notably, even though it sets itself up as a game that subverts your expectations, it still manages to keep doing so successfully the entire damn time. So it sets it up. It's like, hey, we're going to show you one thing, but then actually do something else over here. This is going to be a thing that's going to happen in this game, and we're telling you this right up front. It's still gonna catch you by surprise almost every time. So we've, what's the best way to phrase this? We've preceded the game to the best of our abilities. So the game is very familiar with the fact we've played a lot of this game. Let's just phrase it like that. How about? Remember, this time you've got to become friends with everyone. Okay? If you don't, you'll be miserable forever. And we wouldn't want that, would we? No. We just want you to be happy, right? Good luck. So, yeah, you guys noticed the Flowey dialogue there to start was probably not dialogue you've seen. I think that's basically after you try to do a full run and failed is kind of the idea there. Oh, one other thing I wanted to note when if you notice, Flowey says howdy, and there's only one other character in the game that says howdy at all. So that's just another like kind of subtle thing that connects you to who Flowey truly is. It's everywhere, but it's also subtle and well done. The shadow of the ruins looms above, filling you with determination. So if you notice, it clarifies that your HP is fully restored on this save point and the next one, but at that point in the game it then assumes you know that the HP is going to be restored, so it doesn't reiterate. It gives you that information on that initial punch, but doesn't make it tedious. Ancient fusions between diversions and dorkies. I've always really liked that phrasing, just that to describe puzzles. I like that phrasing a lot. So this is actually interesting. I didn't make like this connection actually the first time. This is actually the description for like the hint for this puzzle in this room. Only the fearless may proceed. Brave ones, foolish ones, both walk not the middle road. So you have to not step on the switches in the middle to activate the door. So even though you never actually do this puzzle, it's still like a functional puzzle with a hint and stuff for it. And on top of that, so what I actually thought this meant before that is referring to the paths in the game. Brave ones and foolish ones, interpret which of those is pacifist and which of those is genocide as you will. Neither of them can walk the middle road. You need to stick to your path if you want to have that path. So I like that works on multiple levels there. To make progress here, you'll need to trigger several switches. Do not worry. I have labeled the ones you need to flip. Yeah, okay. Yep. Oh, missed it. We hit the first one before we got there. It looked like we could hit the second one before she got there too. Let's try that again. What? Oh. You can't hit it while holding right, I don't think. What if I just hit this one first though? I don't think that matters. We'll try it one more time just to make sure. But I don't think it matters if you beat her to the switch, like to the switches there. Right now we're seeing if we can have anything different happen if we beat Toriel to the switches. I don't think it's gonna do anything. We've come very close, but we'll try it. I mean, we could try the unlabeled switch too, but I don't see why that would do any different message. Because we would get to the unlabeled switch at the same time she turns around. So I don't think it's going to do anything. I'm down a little far. Dang it! It eats your inputs a little bit. That makes it hard. Normally, I'm not trying to do things with that precision in this game. It might just be the fact my keyboard sucks, but... No. You want to press the other switch. I even labeled it for you. When she later on, starts saying, oh, I think puzzles are too dangerous for you on my first playthrough, I thought it was actually reacting to the fact that I acted like a complete derp that couldn't, figure out any of the... I couldn't even, figure out this basic puzzle to flip the switch on the wall or whatever. I thought she was reacting to that. I was really sad when I found out that she, always does that, walks through the later puzzle, but... I was about as fast as I could do it. I could do it just ever so slightly faster. Alright, worth it. Worth it. We got there, folks. We got there. You are super fast at being wrong. This is just honestly one of my favorite things in the entire game. So this is what the stream is about tonight, folks. We're spending time to show you stuff you have not seen in Undertale yet. That is what we're doing. Very worth it indeed. See, that's the intention. That's this game in a nutshell, guys. Like, who the hell does that? Who actually tries going fast enough to get to the wrong switch, and then who actually makes a game that has a response for the person that goes fast enough to get to the wrong switch?
While you are in a fight, strike up a friendly conversation. Stall for time. I will come to resolve the conflict. Practice talking to the dummy.
Notice, you might recognize what she says here, as something that's called back far later in the game, but most people just talk to the dummy directly and do not talk to her first.
Do you need some ideas for conversation topics? Well, I often start with a simple, how do you do? You could ask them about their favorite books. Jokes can be useful for breaking the ice. Listen to this one. What did the skeleton tile his roof with? Shingles! Well, I thought it was amusing.
So, there's 4 ways to get past this, this dummy. You can talk to it, you can flee, you can fight it. I've seen all of those, but there's a 4th way. I think the 4th way is probably just kind of stalling for time. Dummy looks like it's going to fall over. Dummy looks like it's gonna fall over. Same message. Dummy tires of your aimless shenanigans. Nice, nice. Oh, it's glorious face right there. It's glorious. Toriel's rare faces are so good. So good. Ah! She gives 2 rare faces back to back! Love it. Love it.
The next room awaits.
So here's your first fight. So you have the demonstration, like, straight up tutorial fight against the dummy. Then you have a chance to try this out for real. She asks you to talk to him. So you've got 2 options to talk to him, and both of them solve this fight. So you got that going for you here. Another important thing to note about this this initial Froggen encounter is that if you fight it, as long as you don't like dead center your arrow, or at least really close to it, you won't do enough damage to kill this Frogget, and then Toriel will still come and scare it away, so the fight won't end with you killing something. So it still gives you a little chance to experiment with the mechanics more in a more live situation, without a whole lot of risk of you actually killing something at first if you maybe don't want to, or it gives you more time to not kill stuff and kind of figure out what you want to do with your playthrough and stuff. And here, so Toriel is the tutorial in the game, and here you have literal hand holding, and it's actually endearing. You have a tutorial in the game that is actually endearing with literal hand holding. So it works as a joke and for building up the characters in the story at the same time, and for explaining how the game works. It's pretty impressive.
Forgive me for this.
Okay, this is a fun way to hand this to. See you later, Tori. Oh, how's it going?
Greetings, my child. Do not worry. Neither me nor my clone left you. I was merely behind this pillar the whole time. Thank you for trusting me.
To be clear, of course, you can't have both of those on the screen at the same time playing normally. If you try to talk to the pillar in advance, like, she, like, gives you some ellipses.
Please, remain here. It's dangerous to explore by yourself.
And that line, of course, references the first line in the original Legend of Zelda, and is what most people think of there. So, if you do wait in this room, I think it takes 10 minutes, you get a call from Toriel and she checks up on you. I don't think I've got time, I don't really want to do that, there's things we can do in the meantime. I will just acknowledge that that's a thing. I'm not actually going to touch on that one on this stream, I'm afraid. But essentially what happens is, the annoying dog ends up, like, eating her cell phone, and, that's why she can't call you back later and stuff like that. But, oh, I suppose I should vocalize it to people who aren't looking at chat, but the reason I'm able to run there, we're using a kind of a special setting and mode in Undertale that gives us access to moving around quickly and a few other features. Yeah, but almost everything you'll see in this run can be seen in the game normally. So watch the left side of the screen here. See anything? We have a little friend that is following us around throughout the entire game, as it turns out, and we're gonna point out everywhere you can catch him stalking you. So, the fact she calls you so often, and she also greets you this way every time she calls you, I feel is further emphasis and kind of making fun of tutorials and games, and it's to kind of, I mean, both to like make her the tutorial. Like, emphasize that fact, to make fun of tutorials and games, and to kind of emphasize her as being overbearing, but also, you know, really cares about you, sort of thing. So it's that's like, if you notice, she does this every time she calls you.
Hello? This is Toriel.
And here's the first Frogget that you had a chance. If you kill that first Frogget, this guy will not be here. But if you do, he'll chat with you here, and start giving you some tips about being pacifists. Like, it kind of guides you in that direction. It's like, hey, maybe you don't want to kill things. Here's some ideas for how to not kill things. I have some advice for you about battling monsters. If you act a certain way or fight until you almost defeat them. So here's an important thing. People, like, get really backseaty. Like, this is probably the single worst spot in the game. People do it with backseating while watching people play Undertale. They're like, they really don't want you to kill Toriel, and I think that's really a shame, honestly. Like, so it's interesting. Like, it's a little heart-wrenching to see Toriel die. I mean, it's understandable people don't want her to die. But at the same time, I think a lot of key moments in the game are, like, way more impactful if you do accidentally kill Toriel and proceed with your first playthrough like that. Even I say this as someone who felt robbed and tricked into accidentally killing her on my first playthrough. I felt like the game kind of screwed me on that one, partially because of this text right here that says you can fight until you almost defeat them, and they might not want to battle you anymore. So this is a bit of text right here that encourages you to potentially damage her until she's low, and then maybe you can spare. So I felt a little robbed at how that ends up when you try to do that, but I still think it makes other moments in the game a lot stronger and more impactful if you do a full neutral playthrough first with accidentally killing her. So I hate to see people always spoiling that part of the game in blind playthroughs. You'll also notice, like, uses of color in the text is fairly rare, and it's either for emphasis, like important emphasis, or comedic effect. Do I want any monster kit? Yeah, fine. This is always fun. It says take one. Would you like to take a piece of candy? You take one. You took more candy. How disgusting. You take another piece. You feel like the scum of the earth. You took too much too fast. The candy spills onto the floor. Look at what you've done. You've ruined it for everybody. And, like, a lot of the random, quote, encounters are very, preset to appear in certain places, certain times, and stuff like that, so it feels like random encounters in an RPG, but they're actually, like, heavily crafted to show up at certain times in the game, so that's more subtle game design. And, so here, you're introduced to the concept that you find these little holes in the ground that you have to fall, like they'll make you fall to the ground, and there's this leaf path on the ground there as well, directly under where you'd fall. So that's your first introduction to it. So yeah, here's our preference. So note here is that like she calls you, and then you take like 2 steps. She immediately calls you again. Once again, further emphasizing the tutorial, the annoying tutorials in many modern games, and her overbearing but genuinely caring aspects.
Which do you prefer? Cinnamon or butterscotch?
And here is kind of your first introduction that this game is going to give you little text decisions like this. This is really interesting because I think I bet he like actually thought about this for a while to figure out these ingredients, cinnamon and butterscotch, because neither excuse me, neither of these ingredients tends to be terribly disliked very strongly by most people. And the number of people that prefer cinnamon or butterscotch is actually super split. Like it's perfectly even, pretty much. What ingredient of these two people will actually prefer. Many people, like myself, kind of like both a little bit, but not a huge amount necessarily. So this is really interesting because it is introducing you to these decisions in such a very simple, silly way, but almost everyone takes like a real moment to think about this decision. So we take like 2 steps, and she calls again immediately, and she gives the same introductory text again immediately. So I believe that is just all for those reasons I've stated. Alright, so I'm going to actually reset right now. I'm curious if she remembers your preference from this point, like just immediately setting it, or you need to like have an actual run past it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so even though we didn't save or go anywhere past this room, she still remembers our preference immediately. So I love the memory in the game with stuff like that. It's amazing.
Wait, do not tell me. Is it butterscotch? I had a feeling. When humans fall down here, strangely, I often feel like I already know them. Truthfully, when I first saw you, I felt like I was seeing an old friend for the first time.
And so now we have a callback to the previous room that wasn't really even a puzzle. There's no way to like fail it per se, but we have a callback where you're going to hit stuff in the ground that makes you fall through, and you're gonna land on the leaves. You've got a sign that tells you to not step on the leaves. I still did not understand this puzzle for a while. It actually took me a little bit to understand, but it is actually built on the previous example. If you're paying attention, it's all consistent there. Yes, that's another important note, Ferret. It has inevitable progress because as long as you stay in that room, the holes stay permanent, so you kind of mark your path, and you can just brute force it if nothing else. Another really interesting thing in general is just how well this game handles multi-monster encounters. That it creates specific combinations of their attacks that are unique for those specific pairs of monsters. That is a weaker version of either attack, but still contains the essence of both the attacks. So, like right here, you have the Whimsun circling, and then Frogget's still attacking through like that. Quick voiceover to explain that here. A viewer suggested something might happen if I kept failing the puzzle. I had no idea if they were serious, but figured it'd be worth a try. You feel like Gunther was making a joke? Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna trust him. Till I'm told otherwise. Because I would expect this game to have it. Fill in a lot, though. Maybe we have to actually fill in a little more. So this is what we're doing. We're sciencing. That is what we're doing tonight, folks. We are sciencing. Lots of science. Always got lovely games. It even makes like a unique sound effect. It's like, oh, alright. Fine, just do it. Also, there's no hitbox on the wall here. We'll bring that up real quick. So normally you can't walk up here because it's blocked off by the traps that would make you fall down. But that's what the hitboxing looks like, and you can actually just walk through this wall. That's right, Squirrel. That's the first time we've solved it. Every other time we've been skipping the puzzle. That's right. You wanted me to stay there? You're giving me a real workout. Aren't things easier when you just ask?